So this will vanish after some time, right?
Yeah.
Once I start, it will just go.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
It's gone. It must have gone now.
No, it's still there. That's why I asked.
No,
I thought I have to do something about it.
No. It's not on other screen. I don't think so. It is there.
You can say if got it is there, you can
Got
say
it. You got to click on got it.
got it. Please click on that. It will go away. Did you get? Did you get, sir?
Hi, Soumyajit. Has it gone?
No, it's still there.
Do you see got it?
I can see continue and leave meeting.
Oh, continue, karo.
Continue, yeah.
Enter.
Continue. Yeah.
But I am not able to. One sec. Yeah. Thanks.
Gone?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So it's 6:07. So another people are still joining. So another 3 minutes we'll wait, Soumyajit.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I see people are still joining in.
This meeting is until what time, ma'am?
It's around, the presentation is for around 45 minutes and then the question answer.
Thank you.
Your very familiar name, sir, Gopala. I'm just trying to recollect.
I don't know. We participated in some of the census or treks or something like that.
Yes. So you're from Bangalore, is it?
Yeah, from Bangalore.
Okay. Must have, yeah.
Maybe tiger census or elephant census, if you had come.
Yes. I mean, it's a long time back. I don't get time nowadays. Yes. I used to go for Bandipur, Nagarhole.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Good.
you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So 1 minute.
I think some 10 more are pending, right?
No, I have admitted everyone from this side.
Acha.
Anyway, Shweta will be admitting them.
Everyone. I've admitted everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, still people are coming. Now I think we can't make others wait too long. We can start, I think. Yeah, I'll 1 second. Yes, we are live and we are live at all the places. Okay, good. So Soumyajit, ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, let me just start. Let me just give you a brief intro about our speaker. First of all, मेरा camera off है. 1 minute.
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, thank you everyone. Good evening and happy International Tigers Day. Very thankful for all of you to have joined today for this session. I, Gitanjali Dhar, I'm the Secretary of Rotary Connect and very happy to welcome you all for this session. Today we are going to have our speaker of the day is well-known photographer, wildlifer, Soumyajit Nandy. I have known Soumyajit for a long time, almost I think 15-16 years now.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen him, like getting transformed from his corporate life to the wildlife tourism domain that he is in now. So it's been a wonderful journey, good friend. We have traveled together many places. We love to debate, discuss, pull each other's legs, a good friend. So thank you, Soumyajit, for agreeing to
Thank
take
you,
this session.
Gitanjali.
Yeah. So just to, he a very brief intro because I don't want to get into too much of a time. We want to know more about Sundarban tigers, of course. So Soumyajit Nandy is the founder and managing partner of Going Wild LLP, which conducts wildlife photography tours and documentary filmmaking. He is an architect by his educational qualification and now turned into a wildlife photographer specializing in Sundarban and its tigers. Soumyajit has assisted BBC and Nat Geo in making documentaries on Sundarban. Going Wild has been recognized by the government of West Bengal as an innovative startup and was featured in a TV reality show called Egya Bangla on Zee Bangla channel. So here we have, Soumyajit, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you, Rotary, for giving me this opportunity. So let's start. So let's go to the first slide. Sundarban is an island complex. It's very different from rest of the forests what we have in India. It's very different. It's all islands. Sundarban is all islands. There are totally 102 islands. Sundarban, the Indian Sundarban is of 102 islands, out of which 48 are forest islands and rest 54 are human habitations. So most of the wildlife, including tigers, they live in those 48 forested islands. And the human habitation islands, they don't have forest as such. There are small patches of forests here and there, and there are some wildlife like jungle cats and all, but very less. Most of the wildlife what we get to see is inside those 48 forested islands. Now, since it's a island complex, the water which we see in Sundarban, the water flowing through the rivers or canals or creeks, these are all tidal water and they come from Bay of Bengal. They are saline in nature. They are not sweet. They are not sweet like our river waters. They are saline in nature. Of course, the salinity is not as much as what you get in the sea, but it's little less, but saline. Since it's the sea water, Sundarban has got daily 2 high tides and 2 low tides, because the water keeps flowing in and out of Sundarban. So there will be 2 high tides and 2 low tides every day. Each tide duration is around 6 hours, 12 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's like, say, if the high tide is starting right now, the water will keep rising for around 6 hours, 12 minutes, 30 seconds, and then it will start going down again, and it will go down for another 6 hours, 12 minutes, 30 seconds, before which again it starts rising. So this cycle goes on every day. So what happens, like if today morning 5 o'clock is the high tide start timing, tomorrow it will be around 5:50 in the morning when the high tide starts. So this duration changes on an everyday basis, and even the level of water also changes. It's like during the Purnimas and Amavasyas, the rise in water is max, and even the drop in the level is also max. It we call this as spring tide, like fresh tides which is coming in. And what happens during the, say, 3-4 days after Purnima or Amavasya, slowly the tide starts dying down. This current in the water starts dying down. So we call them as neap period, when the tide is low and the water doesn't rise much, and also the water doesn't fall much. Now, the only way to visit Indian Sundarban is by motorized boats. Now, you can't step on the land in Sundarban. The soil is marshy, muddy, and there are these pneumatophores coming out of the soil. So it's very difficult to step on those lands, and then definitely the tidal factor is there. So keeping in mind the safety reasons, we can visit Sundarban only by motorized boats. Sundarban is open round the year, and the safaris are generally from sunrise to sunset. Like I was saying about tides, spring tide and neap tide. Basically, these neap tide periods are a good time to visit Sundarban, because what happens since the current in water is not much, the rise and fall is not much, the current is less, and these are the times when most of the wildlife prefer to cross over to different islands. Now there are three different tourism zones in Sundarban where people can visit. The most famous, the most visited part is Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary. The next visited part is South 24 Parganas Divisional Forest. Now, what happens? This is a bit big place. Like what happens in Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary, you can finish your tour within a day. You can visit the entire place, all the parts of Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary within a day. But if you are going to South 24 Parganas Divisional Forest, it will take at least 2 to 3 days, because you can see on the map how big it is. You start from the top and you go almost up to the Bay of Bengal. So it's very difficult to go up to Bay of Bengal and come back in a single day. So you have to spend probably 1 or 2 nights inside the forest and visit all the places in South 24 Parganas Divisional Forest, and then come back. The third one is Boshirhat Range. Boshirhat Range is near Bangladesh border. It's also a very beautiful place to visit. The landscape is little bit different, because it's near to Raimongol River. Raimongol River, since it's a freshwater river, there is the salinity level is very less there. So the vegetation is a little bit different in Boshirat range. So it's a nice place to visit also. But mostly people who come to Sundarban, they visit Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary. Now, as I said, the only way to visit Sundarban is by a motorized boat, and you can't step onto the land. Still, there are few places where you can get down. There are these few watchtowers which where tourists are permitted to go, and these watchtowers are generally in all forest protection camps. There are various forest protection camps inside the forest, which are fenced from all the sides, because we all know the Sundarban tigers are not very reliable, and they are prone to man-eating, and all those things are there. So all the camps are protected by metal fencing all around. So only a few of those camps you can get down and walk up to the watchtower. Now all these watchtowers have a sweetwater pond attached to it. Since rest of the water sources are mostly saline, all the wildlife, for a change, they prefer to come here and have a drink from the sweetwater pond. Now, there is this interesting thing called Canopy Walk in Dobanki Forest Camp. It's a almost half a kilometer long elevated path which goes through the forest. So you can see on the bottom right side, that's the Canopy Walk. It's little interesting, because when you walk on this, you can see how the interior of the mangrove forest looks like. Because what happens otherwise, you will be traveling by a boat and you will be looking at the shorelines. You hardly get to see how the interior of the forest look. So this is a very interesting thing. It's very popular with the tourists who come there. Another very interesting thing, it's very bone chilling also. Even I get goosebumps when I walk through this. This is a mangrove walk which is in Buridabri forest camp. It's in Boshirat range. Dobanki is in Shodnekhali range, and Buridabri is in Boshirat range. So in this, what happens, you actually walk on the ground level. So since you are walking on the ground level and you don't have this metal fencing around you, these are these these are fencing made of we called goran tree, fencing made of goran tree. So walking on the ground inside this is pretty chilling. I mean, people do enjoy this walk also. So that's why this Buridabri forest camp and Dobanki forest camp, these are very popular with the local tourists who go there. Now, we have low tide and high tide, I told you earlier. Typical low tide situation looks like this. When you see these mud flats exposed, the water level is much low. And what happens during these low tide periods, that you get to see a lot of wildlife on the mud flats. And not only wildlife, generally when we track tigers in other forests also, tiger tracking is mostly done by checking the footprints, listening to alarm calls. Similarly, in Sundarban also, we do the tiger tracking in similar method. We have to see the footprints and listen to alarm calls. Though alarm calls are very less frequent. We don't get to hear much of alarm calls because prey density is very less, and we just have one spotted deer and monkeys who generally gives alarm call. So mostly we have to rely on these footprints and follow these footprints to see if where the tiger would have moved, and if we can get a glimpse of the tiger. What happens during the neap tide period? Neap tide period is generally between say Tithi, we call it Tithi, like after Amavasya or Purnima, the first day is Prathama, then Ditya, Tritiya, like this. So the neap tide generally starts from Panchami or Shashti, and it goes on till Dashami, Ekadashi. Generally, after Dashami, the fresh tide starts, basically the spring tide starts. So what happens during this neap tide period, we get long stretches of low tide time during the daytime when we visit. What I mean by long stretches of low tide is like, see, for example, I'll tell you, see, when you are entering the forest, the water level is slowly going down, and throughout the day, the water level is down, and by the time you are coming out, the water level is going up. So what happens, the entire day, entire stretch of the day, you get the mud flats open. What happens during the spring tide period, when you enter the forest, the tide is slowly going up. So say couple of hours after entering the forest, you will see water all around, and it will probably go on till say evening 2:30, 3 o'clock, and probably last 2.5, 3 hours again you might get some mud flat. So it gets very difficult to track wildlife, especially tigers at that point of time, because the footprints get washed away and even their movement time is very restricted. See, this is how typically a high tide time looks like. You don't get to see any kind of mud flat, and you see this water has gone right inside the forest. So we actually remain completely clueless at this point of time, and it's just like going around and around, and we don't get any clue what's happening in the forest. And even the wildlife during these times, they prefer to move little deep inside the forest because there is water everywhere near the shoreline. They can't come out and graze and do whatever they want. So they walk inside the forest. So it's a little difficult to see wildlife at these times when the water is high and there is no mud flat visible. Okay, so now we'll just briefly look at the key species what we get in Indian Sundarban. So first, of course, is the Bengal tiger. Now, tiger sighting happens throughout the year. It's not like only summer or only winter or only monsoon. Not like that. Tiger sightings in Sundarban happen throughout the year. Generally, the neap tide periods are good for tiger sighting because of the reasons I told you. It's easy to track the footprints, and we get a lot of these open mud flats, and tigers might come out, sit out. So it's easy to see a tiger during the neap tide periods. The next key species is a fishing cat. Now, the fishing cat, these lesser cats are highly nocturnal. So seeing a fishing cat during the daytime is little bit difficult. The sightings are not very frequent. Not like, I mean, we get to see tigers more often than a fishing cat. But generally during the winters, we get good sightings of these cats because what happens, a lot of fog happens during the winter, a lot of mist, and nights are very cold and chilly, and it gets very wet. The forest gets very wet. So early morning when the sun rises, these cats prefer to come out in the sun and bask. So those are the good times to see a fishing cat in Sundarban. Similarly, these leopard cats are also highly nocturnal species, and even we see leopard cats throughout the year, unlike fishing cat, because what happens, especially during your monsoon season, the land gets wet because Sundarban gets not only Sundarban, actually entire Bengal, this part gets a good monsoon. So during the monsoon season, the land gets wet, and especially during this high tide period, these cats prefer to climb up on the tree. So monsoon also, a lot of times we get good sightings of leopard cat. Winter, though, definitely winter is a good time, and all these cat species, they love to bask in open sun. So tigers or leopard cats, fishing cats, winter definitely very good time for all these three. Now, we have jungle cats also in Sundarban, but jungle cats are mostly seen outside the forest. Like I told you, in the human habitation, there are small forest patches along the river sides. So these jungle cats mostly stay on those forest patches. Now, since these cats stay near to human habitation, they are pretty accustomed to people and boats. So you can approach a little closer. These cats are very photogenic. They won't run away if they see you, like fishing cat or leopard cat, or at times those shy tigers. They will just vanish in seconds inside the mangrove. These jungle cats can be seen easily and pretty approachable. And since they are near to human habitation, even throughout the year we get to see these jungle cats. We have Asian small-clawed otters in Sundarban. There are some unconfirmed reports of smooth-coated otter also, but till now I haven't seen any smooth-coated otter in Sundarban. What I have seen is all these Asian small-clawed otters, and these are seen round the year. These otters are seen round the years, and best time to see them are the lowest tide period, because these are the times when they come out to hunt. They will be either on the main river side, or there are these small by canals, by creeks going in from the branching out from the main river. So inside those, they will be hunting for crabs and other small invertebrates. We have got IRrawaddy dolphins in Sundarban, and dolphin sightings also is good throughout the year. Generally, we see these in the big river confluences or big wide rivers where the water is very deep, and mostly we see one or two. At times we get to see large spots like 6, 7 of them. I mean, the maximum number I have seen is 7, 8, not more than that. Among the birds, this Buffy Fish Owl is a star species of Sundarban, because we don't get to see it anywhere else in India. We get Buffy Fish Owl only in Sundarban. Buffy Fish Owl, again, it's a resident breeder in Sundarban, so it's seen round the year. But what happens, mostly during the high tide times, they come out near the river bank to hunt. So those are the good times when we see a Buffy Fish Owl. We don't generally get to see during the low tide times. Mostly when the water is high, almost at the highest level, we can see them on the tree branches near the riverside. Another interesting species is a dark morph of changeable hawk eagle. Now, changeable hawk eagle, we get it throughout India. Like in northern India, we call it changeable hawk eagle, and in southern part, we call it crested hawk eagle. Earlier, both were the same species, different subspecies. Now they have been split into different species. So in Sundarban, we get this dark morph of changeable hawk eagle, which is very rare in any other part of India. I mean, I haven't personally come across this anywhere else. In Sundarban and in some part of South Bengal, I have seen, not anywhere else in India. We get both the morphs of changeable hawk eagle in Sundarban, but this dark morph is more elusive and not elusive, actually. It's more interesting. People come here when birders have this on their list always, and this is seen round the year. This species is seen round the year. There is no specific timing, or even considering tide timing, there is nothing specific like that. It can be seen anytime. Another interesting species is ruddy kingfisher. Ruddy kingfisher, again, it's a resident breeder in Sundarban, but it's seen mostly during the monsoon time. What happens during the monsoon time, since it's their breeding time, they are pretty vocal. So until unless they call, it's very difficult to locate them. So we depend a lot on their calls to locate them and then see. So monsoon is a good time for ruddy kingfisher sightings in Sundarban. Brown-winged kingfisher is also a resident breeder in Sundarban, and it's seen mostly during post-monsoon and winter. Though I have personally seen it round the year, but other timings are not very frequent. Like say from March end to mid-March, not on March end, mid-March to mid-August, August end, the sightings are very infrequent. But from mid-August, August end onwards, sighting starts, and from October onwards, it's like very, very frequent sighting. Probably if you do one day full day safari in winter, you might get to see at least 6, 7 different individuals in different part of tourism zone. So this is pretty common in winter, and since it's a little big bird among the kingfishers, it's very bold. It will allow you very close approach, and you can get nice portrait shots of this kingfisher. Black cap kingfisher is a migrant visitor to Sundarban. They generally come around September, mid-September, and they will go away by mid-March. Since these birds are little smaller in size, and since they don't stay here in Sundarban, they are little finicky. I mean, they won't let you come very close. They will fly away. So getting very good crisp shots are like little difficult in Sundarban. But sometimes say during the winter months, if it is very foggy early in the morning, what happens? Its wings gets heavy because of the dew, and it doesn't fly away very quickly. So sometimes we can approach it little close. Another star species of Sundarban is mangrove whistler. Like ruddy kingfisher, this bird gets extremely vocal during the monsoon season, and since it's a very small bird, uh, it's very difficult to locate it unless you get to hear its call. So that's why monsoon is considered a good time to see these mangrove whistlers. They are a resident breeder in Sundarban, and these birds are very finicky. They will hardly give you seconds to photograph them, and they are more heard than seen. I mean, uh, in monsoon, throughout the day, we might be hearing their call every now and then. Probably every 10-15 minutes we'll hear these birds call, but probably only once during the entire safari you will get to see them. They're very difficult to see. They call more, and they show themselves very less. This is one star species of Sundarban, saltwater crocodile. This is the biggest reptile what we get in the world's biggest reptile. And these are pretty huge. I have seen saltwater crocodiles up to 16-17 feet length in Sundarban. And these are seen throughout the year. Though a lot of people will say that only in winters you can see crocodiles, but what we have seen that they can be seen throughout the year. Yeah, definitely winters the sightings are more, the frequency is more, and the larger individuals are seen more during the winters. But throughout the year you can see them, because they have to come out. They have to come out to regulate their temperature. They can't stay throughout the time inside the water. So even during the monsoons or summers, one will get to see a saltwater crocodile. Another reptile which we get is king cobra. A lot of people actually get amused. They ask me that you get king cobra in Sundarban. Yes, we do get king cobra in Sundarban, and even king cobra sightings are frequent. It's not that it's a very rare sighting. Frequently throughout the year, we get to see king cobras, but yeah, not as frequent as tiger. Not as frequent as tiger. Okay, one interesting thing I'd like to mention. I have seen two different morphs of this king cobra. The one photographed here is more of it has got very prominent white bands. The other morph which I have seen, the white bands are not very prominent. It's more of a completely blackish kind of thing. In fact, initially I got confused. I thought it as a monocled cobra, but later when I sent the photograph to a snake expert. I am not a snake expert. The snake expert told me that yeah, it's a king cobra. It's not a monocled cobra. This is very interesting species. It's called red-tailed bamboo pit viper, and so far not much of research has happened on it, and the people who deal with the snakes and taxonomy of snakes and all these things, they say that so far it has been recorded only from Sundarbans. In Sundarban, I have seen this species only once outside in the deep forest. Rest of the time, I have seen it in these forest camps. They will be dangling on the periphery metal fencing, or sometimes they will be under those what you call these electric boxes, those solar electric boxes, and sometimes on the tree, sometimes on some rope. So we get to see these mostly in these forest camps. And this is also a very interesting species. Lot of photographers or wildlifers who come to Sundarban, they like to see these species. And this is also seen throughout the year. Monsoon is a good time. Monsoon is a good time because a lot of rain happens, and they come out from their holes. So it's pretty easier to see them in monsoon. Even in winter, they come out to bask. Like all reptiles, they come out to bask. So winter's also good sighting. Monsoon, much better sighting. Now this is very, very rare sighting. It's olive ridley turtle. Olive ridley turtles are mostly seen either in the deep sea or near the coastal areas. They don't generally come very inland. So if you see Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary, this is photographed in Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary. Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary, it's almost say 60-70 kilometers away from the shoreline, coastline, Bay of Bengal. So these turtles, they don't come very often so much inside. Sometimes during the monsoon season, when the water level is too high and the current is very strong, they probably get washed away and come inside. So this is very rare sighting. This doesn't happen often. But the thing is that in Sundarban, when somebody comes to Sundarban, we always tell them that come with an open mind, because you don't know what surprise Sundarban has for you. So lot of times there are surprising sightings which happen in Sundarban. The other species which we see very frequently are the mudskippers. These are basically amphibious fishes, and we mostly see them during the low tide period, but it's little tricky. The sun has to come out. If it's a cloudy day and still it's low tide, you might see mudskippers, but you will see very less, or probably the smaller ones. The bigger ones you generally see when it's a low tide, combination of low tide and some sun is there. They need that warmth. And during March, April, it's the breeding season. So during the March, April, you see these blue dots very prominent, and you will see two male mudskippers fighting among each other. So these interesting activities you get to see during this March, April time. Another interesting species we get are these jellyfishes. Jellyfishes we generally see during this Jan, Feb, March. These 3 months we see these jellyfishes, and we can see them mostly in places where the water is little clear. Generally in winters the water remains clear, not much of mud, though on a regular basis tide is happening, but winters the current is much less compared to monsoon and other summer times. So water remains little clearer during the winter times. Still more clearer smaller canals. Basically, if you go to smaller canals, it's easier to see them because the water is much more clearer in the smaller canals. And when we see swarms of them. It will be like probably hundreds and 200s just flowing by your floating by your boat. So it's a very, very nice scene when you see these jellyfishes. Okay, so let's come to tiger prey base. So primarily tiger has got three different prey base. One is spotted deer, one is rhesus macaque, and one is wild boar. Now, in Sundarban, the tigers actually eat everything which has got flesh on them. I mean, starting from mud skippers and fish and crab, going up to human beings, if they get a chance. So, most of those are generally opportunistic. On a regular basis, they rely mostly on spotted deer or rhesus macaque or wild boar. What we have heard from the foresters that tigers prefer mostly to hunt these wild boars, because wild boars are very slow movers, and since they are little bulky, it's difficult for these boars to move through the thick mangroves. So it's always easier for a tiger to catch a wild boar rather than a spotted deer. Spotted deers are very agile, and since they are slim, it's easy for them to run through the thick mangrove forests. And rhesus macaques, they mostly they'll be on the trees, so it's difficult to catch them until unless they come down. So it's probably on the least priority list of a tiger, because hardly they get an opportunity to hunt a rhesus macaque. But they do hunt. They do hunt. A lot of people have seen, foresters have seen. There are camera trap images also where a tiger is walking with a dead rhesus macaque in its mouth. So, okay, let's move to the next slide. I'll discuss about some swamp tiger sightings, like how we get to see them, and how somebody, if somebody is visiting Sundarban, what that person should expect, and what should be their lookout when they go for the safari in Sundarban. Now, since we are moving mostly on the boat, on the rivers and canals of Sundarban, a tiger sighting happens only when the tiger comes out of the forest. We can't go inside the forest. We have to stick to the rivers. So we can see only the river sides. And when tiger is there inside the forest, since the mangroves are very thick, we can't see what's there inside. Like there are places where there is a hardly a visibility of 2 feet. You don't get to see more than 2 feet what's happening inside. So until unless tiger, or for that matter any other wildlife, if they don't come out to the open mud flats, you don't get to see them. Now, why a tiger will come out to the open mud flat? It can stay inside the forest. Why it needs to come out to the open mud flat? They come out to the open mud flat either to cross over from this island to that island, to the adjacent island, or walk along the shoreline to patrol its territory. Now, what happens? A lot of people have misconception that there is one island and there are some tigers in that island, or one tiger is there in that island. It doesn't go out of the island. It's not like that. In Sundarban, a tiger will have a territory over several islands. Like in Shojnekali Wildlife Sanctuary, there is this big male who used to roam around, say, 12 different islands, frequently crossing big rivers, small canals. So the tigers, they need to cross the canals to move over to the other island. A female generally will be visiting 2-3 different islands, so they have to cross. So when they have to cross, they come out and they cross. So that's one time when you get to see a tiger outside in the open. Another time is when they walk along the shore. sometimes what happened, part of tiger's territory boundary is probably a shoreline of a island or river, shoreline of a river. So a tiger will walk along that shoreline, marking its territory, checking out the other island, like if there is some other tiger, there's a mate, some prey base or something there or not. So these are the times when we generally get to see a tiger. Now, when a tiger comes to cross the river, it generally, if it is a big river, say something on which boats are navigating, say a river where the boats are navigating, a tiger won't just come out and swim and go away. It will come to the river side. It will wait for a lot of time. Lot of time means at times it might wait up to 2-3 hours and check for the right opportunity to cross over. Because what happens when it is in the water, it's very vulnerable. There are crocodiles in the water. There are sharks also. There are these tourist boats or forest department boats or fishing boats navigating in those waters. So they are always wary of these things. So they will make sure that they get a very clear space to cross over, and then they check the tide conditions, like uh, the current in the water, what is the current, and they would like to cross at a certain point of time. So they will always come to the shoreline and wait there for some time. So now they might not wait for the entire 2-3 hours outside the forest. They might sit little bit inside and keep observing. Before crossing, say they will come out and sit there for 10-15 minutes or half an hour at times, observe, and then slowly get into the water. Like, see, I told you they don't always sit in the open. Sometimes they sit like this, little bit camouflage, little bit inside. So a lot of times this is little bit a clearer photograph. There are times when you might just get to see little bit of portion of ear, or probably little bit of nose, or maybe the two paws coming out of the forest, nothing else. So those are the times like they camouflage themselves and sit there for a long time observing the surroundings before coming out and taking the final plunge. Now, when they swim, only their head will be out of the water and probably a little bit of shoulder some point of time. And they use their limbs as super strong paddles. They use all their 4 limbs, and they use their tail to change directions. So when most of our not our most of the sightings which happen in Sundarban is in the water. Like you're traveling in some river or some canal, and from far away you get to see a orange ball floating in the water. You pick up your binoculars and see a tiger is crossing. So most of these sightings are like that. So we have to be very vigilant. We always have to be our binoculars ready and keep scanning the shorelines and the water level also to see if a tiger is crossing or not. Mostly they prefer the calm times when there is less current in the water. But then see, they also have to do their regular activities. So at times it happens that their activity time might not match properly with the current times and other scenarios. So if a tiger has to cross, it will cross generally. It will cross. It won't sit back. If it has to cross, it will cross. Whatever be the current or whatever be the situation, if a boat is there or not, it will cross. So we at times during the choppy waters also, in choppy waters also, we get to see tigers crossing. it's a little difficult for them. You can see the mouth open because it's taking that breath, and the swim will be little slow, not as fast as it will do during the calm times. The swim will be little slow because it needs to catch up with the breath. But yeah, we do get to see them during the choppy water times also, which is more frequent during this monsoon and summer times. Summer especially, we get a lot of wind in the summer times. So even those times, the water remains very choppy, and still at times they cross. Now, while crossing the river, they become they are very conscious. They keep on looking this side, that side, if a boat is approaching or not, because I told you they are very vulnerable when they are inside the water. So it's very for the photographers to get a good headshot, like tiger looking towards you. In other forests, generally it happens on the land, but in Sundarban, we mostly get it when the tiger is swimming, because if a tiger is swimming and the boat is approaching, every now and then it will keep looking at the boat. So photographers, they generally get a lot of opportunities to get these photographs when a tiger is looking into the frame. Now, the tigers, as I told, they use their tails for navigating. Since they use the tail, generally what has been recorded, they have a thicker tail base compared to other tigers of India. Because those tigers, other tigers of India, they use the tail mostly when they are chasing their prey. But Sundarban tigers, not only while chasing their prey, while swimming also they have to use their tail. And in stronger currents, you need a very strong muscular tail to navigate you through the water. So their base of the tail is much more thicker than what we see in other tigers of India. And they have a little shorter tail also. Like other tigers of India, we see little longer tail. Sundarban tigers, proportionately, the tail is a little smaller. It's easier for them to navigate with the smaller tail. Now, as I told, these looking into the frame, it happens mostly when the tiger is in the water, and when getting out of the water, again, it will give you a final look, that basically to check what we guys are doing, if we are following them, following him up to the land, onto the land, getting down or not, what we are doing. So before getting out of the water, they'll generally give you a final look, and then probably start climbing and vanish into the mangroves. But not all the tigers will do that. There are shy individuals. Shy individuals will just spring out of the water, and probably in one or two jump they will vanish inside the mangrove. They will not even look at you. And most of the Sundarban tigers are shy in nature. They will not give you that opportunity to take good photographs. There are few bold individuals, like in Shodnekali Wildlife Sanctuary. There are two big males. One big male is definitely the boldest one, who was filmed by BBC also in their Big Cat series. So he gives long sightings. You can probably at times you can see him throughout the day, from morning till evening. There is another big male that's also, whenever it's seen, it gives good sighting. Mostly it's more of its territory is in non-tourism part, so we don't get to see him very often. And there is one female, she is very bold. She also gives good sighting. Apart from that, most other tigers are shy in nature. Sometimes we get good photographs of them, but most of the times they hide from the boat. Probably, if even if they are say, for example, they one shy tiger, it has come out to cross and it suddenly sees a boat, it will just turn back and go inside, and might not just come out throughout the day. You keep visiting that place again and again. By sunset, you have to go out. So sometimes you will have to go out, move out of that place, and it will then cross. So next day we'll go, we'll see that, okay, evening it has crossed, we can see the footprints. Now, tiger sightings, as I told, it happens throughout the year, and we see tigers in every kind of situation, even during a heavy downpour in monsoon. We see tiger. This is the big male, and he doesn't bother. He will walk in the rain. He will walk in the mist. He will go in front of the boat. He will sit outside. Probably he'll just lie down and fall asleep in the open mud flat. So he's a bold tiger, and he is seen more often. And otherwise also, like around the year, since we see tigers, we get to see them in all kind of situations, be it heavy downpour or a foggy morning like that. Actually, what happens during the daytime, tiger's eyesight is almost equivalent to human beings. So even like we struggle to see far away distance in a fog, these tigers also struggle. So if there is a foggy morning and say there is a shy tiger, it will not run away. It will sense that, okay, there is something there, I can hear some noise. So it will be inquisitive initially and probably try to peep out from the bush and try to look at you. So those are the times when you probably get to photograph a shy tiger. And once it understands that, okay, there is a boat, there are people around, and they are doing something, some activity, then it will probably get up and vanish inside the forest. This was during one summer afternoon. The sun was pretty harsh, so the tiger selected a shady place where there was some shade. And what happens, as I told, there is a good amount of wind in summer months. Lot of southern winds come from Bay of Bengal. So good wind flows along the mud flats, along the shorelines. So these tigers generally select some place where there will be some good amount of breeze and good shade, and it will just lie there, and it becomes lazy at that times. It becomes lazy, and these are another good times to photograph some shy tigers, because since they are lazy, they don't jump up and run inside. They'll probably get up, give a slight look at you, and then slowly it might get up and walk a little bit inside and again lie down. Apart from boat, we get to see a tiger from Watchtower also. Not always, because what happens, the tiger movements across the islands, uh, basically to cross the river or do the shoreline patrolling, it's more dependent on the tidal pattern, the current in the water. But when the inland movement is considered, inland means when the tiger is moving inside the island, it's similar to those of other forests of India, that dawn and dusk calculation. So what happens, even in these watchtowers, mostly the tiger will come very early in the morning, when before the tourist time starts, or it will come little late in the evening when the tourist time is over. So tiger sightings from watchtower is very infrequent, very less. Mostly we have seen this big male who doesn't have any timings. I mean, he doesn't follow any timings. He will come to the watchtower at any point of time. So what happens generally, these watchtowers, they have observation lines. We call them observation lines. They are stretch of lands near the Sweetwater pond, which are cleared by the forest department. Otherwise, what happens, the mangroves are very thick and we won't get any visibility. If there are no observation lines, what will happen? We'll suddenly see a tiger coming out of the forest, getting into the pond, drinking water, and again getting up and vanishing inside the forest. But since these observation lines are there, the tigers walk along these observation lines and come to the Sweetwater pond. So we get a good fair amount of time. So these are long sightings. Whenever there is a sighting from the watchtower, these are long sightings. Probably will go on for half an hour, 40 minutes, 1 hour at times. Because when they drink, tigers, they will drink for at least 10 minutes, minimum 10-15 minutes at a stretch they will drink, and then walking in the observation line and again going back. So all those put together 40 minutes, sometime it goes up till 1 hour. Lot of times we have seen this big male, what he will do, he will just sit on the observation line. At times he will just lie down and he'll just sleep. Maybe say it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's not much of sunny. He will come, have a drink, and just sleep on the observation line. And you will probably be seeing him till end of the time which is permitted for tourists. So sightings are infrequent, but when it happens from the observation line, good sightings happen. This was clicked in a foggy morning when it came to drink water. So as I told, this is the big male and he doesn't have any timing gyan. He will come anytime, whenever he wants. It's his forest, his land, so he's the king. Whenever he wants, he will come to the pond. This is one sighting which happened during the high tide period. Like I told, generally sightings are good during the low tide periods. It's not that you won't get to see a tiger during the high tide period. You will still see some sightings happen during the high tide period. But what happens, you can see the water, it goes inside the forest. Now, what kind of sighting happens during a high tide? You will only see the head of the tiger. It will float in the water and the head vanishes inside the forest. So you don't get to see the full tiger. You just see a orange head floating in the water and slowly that head goes inside the forest because the water has gone inside the forest. So by the time it gets land, it's already deep inside the forest where our visibility doesn't go. So that's why these high tide times, it gets little difficult to see a tiger, to track a tiger actually, because what happens, maybe I am at a bend, a tiger is crossing right now on the next bend. By the time I take the bend, the tiger has crossed and gone over to the other island. And if it is a low tide, I will see fresh pug marks, which will make me think that, okay, now I should do my calculation where this tiger could have gone and what next can happen. But during the high tide, since there is water everywhere and I'm not able to see the mud flat, I don't get to see the footprints, but the tiger has crossed. So I can't do my further calculations. I don't even know a tiger has crossed. So that's why the high tide times are difficult times for us to track these tigers. And only thing is that it's your luck. If you have a direct sighting, like if you are going through the water canal and you suddenly see a tiger swimming across, that's it. More than that, nothing happens during the high tide period. Okay, let's look at some swamp tiger activities which I have captured and which can be captured in Sundarban. Not all the activities, especially hunting. Hunting is very difficult to photograph a tiger hunting because they prefer solid land. What happens, the land near the water is shoreline is a little muddy and sticky, and it's difficult for them to hunt near the shoreline. So they go a little deep inside and hunt. So it's very difficult to get a hunting activity, but other activities which are generally which can be seen. So the most obvious activity is swimming. Mostly we see a tiger swimming in Sundarban because since most of the time the sightings happen when tiger comes out and crosses over to the other island. The other time what we see is the riverside patrolling, where the tiger walks along with the boat, and these are the good times. Like you get to see a tiger for a quite a long time, and you get to photograph a few unique behaviors also, like how they walk on these different kind of new metaphors or different kind of these breathing routes. Like this is a snake route, then there will be a lot of those spiked roots which are coming out. Then there will be a lot of those but roots and different kind of roots are there, and how tiger walks through them. So it's very nice different photographs you will get. Same tiger walking through different kind of routes, and it's not like that you will have to wait for a long time. Probably a stretch of land, say a kilometer, will have different type of vegetation. So as the tiger walks, you will keep on getting different backgrounds and different soil types, probably different levels at times. Sometimes it's above the eye level, sometimes it's below, sometimes it's along the eye level. So a lot of different opportunities we get. When doing their shore patrolling, we sometimes get to see them marking also, scent marking, which they do to mark their territory. It's not very frequent, not very frequent, but a lot of times we have seen them doing the scent marking. Getting a photograph is a little difficult. Sometimes it does the scent marking, but maybe just a layer inside where probably you are able to see, but you might not be able to make a good photograph. But sometimes it does right out in the open, and we can get a good photograph. This is easy to get. Sniffing, they will be especially big males. They will keep on sniffing trees and try to find out the presence of any other big male or other females in the area. So they will keep walking along the shoreline and sniff the trees. A lot of time while before crossing the river also, they will sniff. They will try to get presence, feel the presence of any other tiger in the area. If there is some other male or not, or if there is some female. If some male is following the female scent, and a lot of time a female following male scent. So this sniffing activity is common. We get to this see these snarling activities a lot. What happens before getting into the water? These tigers, they always snarl, especially those big rivers where there are chances of crocodiles. It generally snarls and gives a warning kind of thing. So it's something like I'm getting down into the water, don't come near me, something like that. It snarls and then get into the water. I'm not very sure if the same thing happens in other parks where tiger get when tiger gets into the water. But I have seen tigers doing this very frequently in Sundarban. Always before getting down into the water, especially when crossing big rivers and canals. This Flameman's response, basically they open their mouth and curl their tongue up and try to get the presence of any other individual. They basically try to check. This is not very frequent. I mean, probably this is the only photograph which I have got in. I've been photographing tigers from past almost 7 years. This is the only photograph I have got of a flame's response. There are other photographers who also have got, but it's not very easy to get. Rarely you get to see, but yeah, you can get. It's not that you won't ever get. This activity again is common in the sense when a tiger is sitting on the mud flat for quite some time. So before getting up, it will yawn and then it will get up. This is the general tendency I have seen in tigers across India. I'm not sure, I might be wrong, but I have seen this tendency. And Sundarban also I've seen the same tendency, a tiger which is sitting there from quite some time. Before getting up, it will give a yawn and then get up and go into the thickets. Lot of times we get to see these tigers jumping across these narrow creeks. Narrow creeks, what happens, they can't go down and swim. It's very narrow for them, and it's not easy for them just to walk on it. So they will jump across these narrow creeks quite often while shore patrolling. So a lot of times you will get to see a tiger jumping across these creeks. Okay, this is not a everyday activity. It's very difficult to see because not always they come to the shoreline and fight, but there is one opportunity in May 2018. We got these two females fighting with each other almost for hour and half, and most of the fighting happened inside the forest. I mean, we didn't see them scratching each other and those things, but this chasing down the mud flat, and this one tiger rolling down and other running onto it, and then running behind one another, crossing from one island to another. We saw those a lot of activities, and this is towards the final phase when the female which is snarling, she has actually lost. She is a young female, and the one which is walking away is a older female. She actually had a cub with her at that time. Actually, that sighting also happened because I had a idea that this bigger female is with her cub, and she was most probably in that very location, and I was scanning that location. Suddenly, when this sighting happened, this sighting also happened during the monsoon, and it was a heavy downpour. When initially I saw that this younger female sitting in the water. So yeah, sometimes if you are lucky, you might get to see these kind of rare sightings. There was a sighting when I was not there, but there was some other tourist boat when this big male came out of the forest suddenly, and there was a big crocodile, almost 13-14 feet long. It was basking in the mud flat, and this big male came and caught it by its tail tip and tried to pull it. And the crocodile was big. It gave a jhatka and then ran to the water. I was not there, but one of my known guides and a lot of tourists saw that. Unfortunately, all mobile photographers, so nobody could document that. But something like that, there at times interesting sightings do happen. Sometimes there are sightings where a tiger is crossing a river with a wild boar in its mouth or a spotted deer in its mouth. Sightings like that also do happen. Okay, so I will put across my 5 favorite. I have a lot of frames. I have just selected 5 favorite frames from Sundarban, tiger frames.
Yeah, Soumyajit, we'll have
Yeah.
to be little faster now.
Okay, okay.
People are messaging. Huh? Okay.
Fine.
No
I'll
problem. Yeah.
quickly go through these.
Yeah.
This is the big male, and this is very close to my heart because this was the first time I got to see this big male right from the morning till evening. And this photograph has gone to the Wikipedia, and it's the profile picture of Wikipedia. So that makes me feel little proud. And overall, the essence of, I think this photograph, I could capture a lot of essence of Sundarban, the canal, the roots, the tiger, and its posture. So this is one of my favorite. This is again tiger in tiger palm. This tiger palm is a very typical palm species of Sundarban, and it's called tiger palm because when tigers sit inside it, it gets camouflaged very well. So a tiger peeping out of the tiger palm, it was always there in my mind. I had to get some frames like that, and I got it one day. This is one more favorite frame of mine. May not be from very aesthetic point of view. I like the look, the tiger looking back at me, and the story behind it. The story is long, so I won't go into the story. This is one of those initial sightings of mine when tiger sighting was very rare in Sundarban, and to get a full-bodied tiger looking at you like that, this was clicked in 2015. So at that point of time, sighting was not that easy in Sundarban. This is again another favorite of mine because it has got that studio portrait kind of feel. So it's like my personal studio and the tiger coming out of the water. So this is one of my favorite. And this photograph was clicked on Global Tiger Day 2019. And I always wanted to photograph a tiger with the Sundarban board with it. And I got the tiger in good lighting looking at me. So everything going in favor of me. So this is one more one of my favorite frames from Sundarban. I'll just quickly run you through this little bit of human interaction, what happens in the forest. These are forest guards who are putting nylon fencing on the forest islands. What happens sometimes earlier, the tigers used to cross from forest island to human habitation when there were no fencing. So to stop that tiger straying, forest department had put nylon fencing all along the periphery of the forest where there is a human habitation island on the other side. Now, checking this fencing on a regular basis is very important because Sundarban is a very hostile landscape and a lot of wear and tear happens on an everyday basis. So this checking of this is very important, and it's a very risky job. You see the forest department people with guns and all, and they do a lot of shouting and all while doing this. One of the main activity, not one of the main, actually the only activity which is legally allowed inside Sundarban is fishing. So only these country rowboats are allowed for fishing inside the forest, not the motorized boats. And the permit is given only from September, October onwards till March, not during the summer and monsoon season, because a lot of storms frequently happen there. This is how generally they do fishing on the side creeks. They'll put the bamboo poles during the low tide time, and they'll tie a rope on top. And as the water increases, the fishes will flow inside. And once the water is above the rope line, they will pull the nets up, fix the nets. And when the water starts receding, the fishes, when they are going back to the main river, they get strapped on the net. And during the low tide, the fishermen collect the fishes. These people generally stay inside the forest for almost a week, 7 days during their fishing activity. So all the cooking and all those things they generally have to do on the boat only. These motorized boats are only allowed outside the forest, and these type of boats are mainly for fishing in the sea. These are called trawlers. They are not allowed inside the forested areas. Now Sundarban, it's a little backdated. Not, I won't say backdated, but the technologies have not reached Sundarban yet. So people have to depend on all the traditional methods of their boat repair, maintenance, and all this. So here you can see a boat. They're checking the bottom of the boat for any kind of wear and tear. So, this is a small canoe. It's a traditionally made canoe out of palm tree trunk, and only maybe a couple of kids or one adult can accommodate in this. These are not allowed inside the forest. These are mostly for people to travel outside the forest. Even like outside also people have to depend on boats. So these you can see these big ships, they come from Bangladesh. They come from Bangladesh and they come to Holdia port in West Bengal, coastal Bengal. They collect fly ash from Holdia. Holdia has got refinery, oil refinery, and they collect fly ash and they go back to Bangladesh, and they use the fly ash for their cement factories. So earlier they used to travel through the forest, Indian Sundarban forest, inside the forest, but due to pollution reasons now they are not allowed, and they have to travel through the periphery of the forest in Indian Sundarban. So okay, so with this we come to an end, and as Gitanjali said, we are now open for question answer session.
Yes, yes. First of all, thank you, Soumyajit. I'm sure every one of us really enjoyed this walkthrough to Sundarbans. Okay, let me just, yeah. And it was really a wonderful presentation, and I'm sure people are waiting now to come and visit the Sundarbans with you, probably. Yes. Okay.
Definitely,
Yeah.
everybody is welcome.
Yeah. So there's, let me just check if there are any questions, and if anyone wants to ask question, please unmute yourself and you can ask.
Ma'am, this is Kulkarni. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Sir, I mean, these are all handheld photographs, or how you avoid the vibration? Because if you use the tripod.
1 second, Soumyajit, you can stop sharing.
1 second.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah, Mr. Nandy, these are all handheld photographs, or how you avoid the vibration of the boat or sound of the boat, or at frequent interval the boat get anchored, how things happen?
These are all handheld photographs. First of all, anchoring during the safari time in Sundarban is not allowed by Forest Department. You can't anchor, or you can't even stop your boat. You have to constantly move. So since we can't stop our boat, it's very difficult to use a tripod, because tripod magnifies vibration. It's very difficult. So we mostly resort to handheld option, because our body is the best tripod, I feel. I mean, the best vibration reduction mechanism we have got. And one more thing is that since it's a tidal water, the boat will keep on moving. Like, even if you keep the pace very slow, like gypsy, what happens, it stops on the land. It's very stationary. Boat never becomes stationary because it's a tidal water. It will keep on moving. So with a tripod, it becomes very difficult to pinpoint, focus an object and keep it in the frame, because your boat will keep on moving. So best thing is to shoot handheld. I always suggest handheld shooting. All these photographs are handheld.
Thank you. Thank you.
Someone was asking, Soumyajit, how many tigers are there in Sundarbans?
According to the last camera trap sensors, there are 97 individuals which have come in camera trap. There might be some more, so say 100 odd in Indian Sundarban.
And what could be any idea what could be the number on the Bangladesh side?
It's almost similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
But that said, I think the landscape is much bigger than India side, right?
Yes, Bangladesh Sundarban is almost 2/3. India has got only 1/3. And Bangladesh last year census, they got around 102 individuals. There might be a little bit more, maybe say 110. So, thoda sa zyada India se, but not very significantly, not proportionately more than India, considering the land size, area-wise.
Yeah. There's a lot of appreciation, Soumyajit, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank you,
else want
everybody.
to? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Alka. I wanted to,
Alka.
first of all, fantastic. It's absolutely been a fascinating journey that you presented to us. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, what is there anyone picture that you are still wanting to capture yet, and which one, what is in your mind next, like that you have not yet captured?
There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them which I still have to capture from Sundarban, but yeah, one high on my wish list is a tigress carrying her cub in her mouth and crossing a canal. Because from footprints, we have observed that this phenomenon happens. We have seen footprints where it suggests that the tigress has come out with the cub in her mouth and it has crossed the river. And after crossing, it has kept the cub on the mud flat, and then they have climbed up. Because while climbing down, when coming down, there was only one set of footprints. And when going up, there were two. One was very tiny. So we know that happens, and that's high on my wish list.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, please unmute yourself.
Actually, I have two questions, not one.
Yes.
One is, how many trips you have made to this jungle? Because I saw so many tigers you captured. And the second question is, after how many trips first time you saw a tiger there?
Okay, I'll answer your first question. Since I am a tour operator and Sundarban is my main area, I am there in Sundarban almost throughout the year. Like every month during the peak season, especially the winters, I will be there for almost 15 days. And otherwise, at least 1 week I will be there. And during the filmmaking thing, I spent with BBC. I was there for entire 1 month. With National Geography, that was small, probably a week. And there was another filming with some Indian company where we did it in stretches, almost 1 month every time, 3-4 stretches of 1 month. So I have spent a lot of time actually. If you see, maybe in the last 10 years, I would have spent almost around more than 600-700 days in Sundarban. So that's why I have a good collection.
Yeah, I'll answer one more thing. Like I'll say, like if you want to write a letter to Soumyajit, it will not go to his Calcutta address. It will go to Sundarbans, to his boat.
Okay, the second answer is I started visiting Sundarban in 2011, and I saw tiger for the first time in 2014 December. But very frankly speaking, from 2011, my initial concentration was not on tigers. Initially, from 2014 August onward, I started concentrating more on tigers, like how we can get to see a tiger, what are the process, like how to follow footprints and all. And December 2014, I saw tiger for the first time. So yeah, it took me 3 years, but those times were different. Those times nobody knew. I mean, I used to ask the guides like if there is a fresh footprints, I used to ask him that where would this tiger would have gone, what is the territory of this tiger, and they used to remain very clueless. So now things have changed. Now you have these fantastic guides also there. They know their tiger movement patterns, which area where which tiger stays. So now things are different. Now it won't take much time to see a tiger in Sundarban.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Soumyajit, I just wanted to introduce to everyone our chair for Rotarians for Wildlife Conservation, Sanjay here. Sanjay, you want to say something? In fact, all of us are part of this fellowship, and I want Sanjay to speak to few words.
Yes, thank you, Geetanjali. Good evening, Soumyajit. It was a fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
It's an open invitation for all of us to come over to Sundarbans. That's all I can say.
Definitely, anytime.
Definitely, it's been there in my wish list to visit Sundarbans, and I'm really keen to see that, see the fishing cat and the, and the leopard cat, if we can see one, and of course the otter as well. What do you think is the right time? Of course, you did mention that. So for winter is the right time.
Yes, winter is the right time because you get to see chances of almost all the cats, plus a lot of birds, crocodiles.
Now to ask you, winter. Okay, when is the right time? When there is not much crowd to come? Because I am sure December will be very crowded. With the
Sanjay, I think it is also depending upon the tide. I think Soumyajit will be able to explain that first.
Tidal pattern is definitely there. We generally consider the neap tide periods for good sighting. Neap tide is basically that timing between Amavasya and Purnima. Basically starting from say Panchami Shashti and going up to Dashami Ekadashi. See, the thing is that from 25th December or say from 21st December onward, the picnic maker starts coming to Sundarban. And it will go on till 26th January. After that, people starts going towards Sagar for Sagar Mela and all. But the thing is that even during that time, if somebody comes, what happens? These general tourists, they will enter the forest only by 9:30. And wildlifers, be it me, my company, my tours or any other wildlife tours, they will start early in the morning, 6:30. So by the time these noisemakers come, we would have seen half of the forest. And when the picnic party enters, we will be there in some part of forest where not many tourist boats will come. So that's okay. It's okay. I mean, even during the peak season time also, wildlifers can come to Sundarban. Not a problem. But yeah, if one can avoid, if one have the luxury to come in avoiding these 25th December to 26th January time, that's also good.
We will look forward to see you in Sundarbans. I am sure Geetanjali will help us to plan a trip from our wildlifers group. So we just started this particular fellowship in the month of January. We have members from all over the world and all over the country and all over the world. We are slowly growing. I am sure we will be able to, connect with you in future many more times. Thank you, Soumyajit.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Sanjay, I request you to please type the website so that if anyone here like to be part of the fellowship, please go through the website and there is a join section. As of now, it is free. So I feel you should take this opportunity by joining the fellowship. We don't know when we will start making it.
Ma'am, one last question, can I?
Yeah, please, sir.
Mr. Nandy, I tried a couple of times because I was a frequent visitor to Sagar.
Okay.
About the security while staying over there. I used to hear a lot of things about the snatching and other things. How do you take care of that?
Fortunately, from the time we started exploring Sundarban, there hasn't been a single incident like that. I mean, since 2011, especially in Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary, or tours happen in Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary, there hasn't been a single incident of any kind of snatching, robbery, or anything like that. It used to happen long time ago when there was not much of mobile communication and all. But nowadays, you hardly anything like that happens.
Yes. I am talking about 30 years back.
Yeah, those times there were no
So,
mobiles, and those times it used to happen. Abhi, it's completely safe. You stay on the boat or you stay in a resort, both are completely safe and nothing is going to happen to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, one last question, then I think it's time for us to wind up. It's some who's asking this, Atrika Ghosh. Where are the places like Bali or Kalash Islands? Are these in the South 24 Parganas? How is the forest there and how to go to these places?
Bali is a village island. Bali is near to Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary. It's actually a village island where there are a few resorts, and we do a lot of birding also in Bali. There are a lot of birds which come over because it's adjacent to a forested island. And Sagar Island, right? The other one she asked.
Yes,
Sagar
yes.
Island is very far away from the Shojnekhali Wildlife Sanctuary.
She asked Kalash.
Oh, Kalash. Okay. Sorry. Kalash Island is in South 24 Parganas Divisional Forest. Like I told, it's almost near to Bay of Bengal. Not almost near, is the island near to Bay of Bengal. So if you have to visit Kalash Island, you have to take a separate permit. You will get it from Jhingekhali. And then you have to take a boat, and for visiting Kalash, you will have to keep at least 3 days with you. You can't go back and come back, go and come back in the same day. You have to go stay inside. Your night stay will be near Bonny Camp, and then probably next day you can go visit Kalash Island. Earlier, Forest Department used to allow getting down onto the forest Kalash beach. Now it's not allowed. So now you can just go by the boat and come back.
Thank you, Soumyajit. Thanks again, and thank you all the Rotarians who have joined the session. We hope to see you again in our future sessions also, and all the others who have joined. Please keep supporting us. It feels very nice to see so many people attending the session. Now I request our treasurer as well as Director, Environment Services, Sarmishta, please go ahead and offer the vote of thanks today.
Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you, Shri Soumyajit Nandy, for this educational session on the beautiful mangroves of Sundarban.
My pleasure.
We had a fantastic photography show as well. And this gave us a glimpse of your patience and commitment towards wildlife, as wildlife photography takes a lot of time. And I personally loved the this tiger palm frame. In today's session, viewers, we learned about the habitat, the new metaphors, tiger and the previous of tigers, both in land and water. We also came to know about what kind of circumstances would be when we visit this nature reserve, like the boat ride, the river, the tides, what can be expected for those who want to take photographs. So I'm sure that the viewers got a slice of jungle life and why they should experience the adventure again and again in Sundarban, our pride of India. I would also like to remind our viewers that Sundarban is the only place where we enjoy tiger in mangrove. Thank you again from Rotary eConnect for your time and sharing your insightful experience. For viewers, you may visit Shri Soumyajit Nandy's Facebook and website goingwild.in to know more. Before ending, I would like to mention tomorrow we are having a session for children from Rotary eConnect. So keep visiting our Facebook page and Twitter handles to more about our to know more about our upcoming events. You are also invited to visit our website for knowing our projects. Thank you so much. Gitanjali.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharmishta. Sanjay, I see you raised hand. Anything you want to say?
No, I only wanted you to extend invitation to Soumyajit to join our fellowship.
He's
Yes,
already
definitely.
a member.
Oh, is he? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry.
Yes, that's what I said. He's already.
No, then I know I didn't see any of the pictures on the group. So, I think Soumyajit should become a little more active, and I'm sure.
Yes, I need to be. Yeah.
We'll come to Sundarbans and learn from you.
Sure.
Glad to see. I'm seeing so many members virtually. In fact, I'm seeing Kiran Kulkarni. In fact, Sharmishta. All of them. I'm seeing only virtually.
Good. Yes.
Let's hope that we make a trip soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Nagjyoti. Also, I just saw her joining. She joins almost all the sessions. Good. Thanks, Raghu, and goodbye. Good night. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.